star collapsed on the high-speed train. I immediately performed a tracheotomy to save her life. When she woke up, she cried and demanded my personal information, saying she wanted to give me a thank you banner. But half a month later, not only did I not receive any thank you, I received a lawyer's letter. The star claimed that I had practiced medicine illegally, damaging her windpipe and making her unable to sing again. Her fans condemned me as an unethical and heartless doctor. Even my boyfriend criticized me, saying I had ruined the glorious career of his goddess. The scandal grew, I was permanently fired from the hospital, my future completely shattered. Finally, in despair, I took a scalpel and aimed it at my own carotid artery. But to my surprise, just 2 days after my death, that star released a new album and topped the charts. It turned out her vocal cords had long since recovered. She had only used me to hype up drama and cover up her scandals of injury and being a kept woman. I opened my eyes and found myself back on that day, the day the star collapsed on the high-speed train. An urgent announcement echoed through the train. Attention all medical personnel on board, please assist. A passenger in car X requires urgent help. In the quiet carriage, the train attendant's urgent voice heightened the tension. My boyfriend, Kevin Chu, heard it and asked me, "Should we go take a look?" "No." My cold reply made Kevin Chu freeze. Perhaps because no medical personnel had responded, the announcement came again. This time, it was a man's anxious voice. "The person who collapsed is the star Mia Thien. If anyone can save her, we will not only offer a high reward but also limited edition signed photos and concert tickets." The entire carriage immediately erupted in chatter. "Oh my God, it's Mia Thien. Why is she on this train and collapsing too? It must be because her company is overworking her with too tight a schedule. Poor thing." Mia Thien was a very popular young star recently. In just 2 years since her debut, she had attracted a large fan base thanks to her innocent appearance and soulful singing, earning her the title, the purest nightingale in entertainment. Even Kevin Chu beside me couldn't help but show sympathy. "Jane Trin, as a medical professional, you must have compassion. Save her. She must have collapsed from overwork." His words made me laugh. Overwork leading to collapse. Clearly, she had an allergic reaction to birth control pills, causing her respiratory tract to swell. In my previous life, it was the same situation. I hadn't even heard the announcement about her being a star before I rushed to save her. The moment I saw Mia Thien's pale face and convulsing body, I knew she had ingested something wrong. I immediately used the Heimlich maneuver to help her vomit. But to my surprise, she only vomited a few pills. I asked her manager, "What's this?" The manager stammered, "Birth control pills." I didn't care about the female star taking birth control pills or any gossip. In my eyes, she was just a patient. After diagnosing that she was allergic to birth control pills, causing respiratory obstruction, I immediately told her manager, "Kai, she needs surgery immediately. Quickly find me a clean knife and alcohol." Kai frantically ran off to find the items. Without hesitation, I made an incision in Mia Thien's trachea and performed a simple cricothyrotomy. Just a few minutes later, her pale face returned to normal. When Mia Thien opened her eyes, her manager, Kai, almost knelt on the spot. He thanked me profusely, calling me a miracle doctor, a modern-day Hua Chu. "We're so lucky you were here today, otherwise Mia Thien might have died." That day, when the ambulance came to pick up Mia Thien, she even cried and thanked me over the phone. "Dr. Jane, please leave your phone number and workplace online. People say that if you want to thank a doctor, you must choose the busiest time at the hospital, bring a thank you banner, and make a grand entrance with drums and gongs. That way, the doctor will be valued by their superiors and have a promising career." The girl's simple and naive words made me chuckle. In the end, I still gave her my contact information, telling her to rest well and to contact me if anything happened. But I never imagined that half a month later, she would indeed choose the busiest time to come to the hospital. Unfortunately, what she brought wasn't a thank you banner, but a lawyer's letter. Her manager, Kai, stood before the hospital executives and yelled at me, "You utterly useless doctor, it's all your fault. Practicing medicine illegally in a remote location, you damaged Mia Thien's windpipe and now she can't sing anymore." I couldn't believe it. I looked at him. "Didn't you beg me to save her at first? If it weren't for my surgery, she would be dead." Kai sneered. "What right do you have to perform surgery on our Mia Thien? Do you know her annual insurance premium alone is 7 figures? If anything goes wrong, can you afford to compensate? I've consulted with a lawyer. You didn't present any professional licenses, and you were practicing in an unauthorized location. This is a serious violation of the law, do you understand? Our Mia Thien has over a dozen variety shows lined up, and new songs are yet to be released, but because of you, her singing voice will never recover. You will pay for this." My eyes widened instantly. I couldn't believe these words were coming from the mouth of the man who had cried and begged me earlier. I frantically sought out my boyfriend, Kevin Chu, who had been on the trip with me that day, hoping he could testify and explain for me. But to my shock, Kevin Chu looked at me with disappointment and said, "Jane Trin, you should apologize. Your medical skills aren't good enough. You stole the voice of the purest nightingale in the entertainment industry." Hearing these words, Kai became even more furious. He cursed me, calling me a useless doctor without restraint. Patients around us gathered, and even the hospital directors frowned, demanding that I stop handling this matter immediately. But that was just the beginning. After I returned home, a video of Kai confronting me at the hospital went viral. Keywords like "heartless doctor" and "Mia Thien can never sing again" constantly trended. Mia Thien became the most talked about and pitiful female singer. Every day, I received messages from strangers, cursing me and wishing me an agonizing death. Some even photoshopped pictures of my family and me to mock us. My boyfriend, Kevin Chu, blocked all contact with me. He visited Mia Thien at the hospital every day, claiming he was atoning for my sins. I couldn't take it anymore. I picked up the most familiar scalpel and aimed it straight at my carotid artery. Before dying, I wrote a suicide note and sent it to a newspaper, hoping to use this drastic method to tell the world I had done nothing wrong. But that letter was not only suppressed by Kai, even the newspaper planning to publish it replaced my story with news that Mia Thien's trachea had miraculously recovered, and she was about to return to the stage. In an instant, thousands of fans shed tears of joy over her recovery. In an interview, Mia Thien cried and said, "Perhaps it's thanks to Kevin Chu's care during this time, or perhaps because that useless doctor is dead and can no longer harm anyone, the knot in my heart was untied and my voice recovered. Thank heavens." Everyone praised it as a miracle, and Mia Thien became an A-list star. But as soon as she stepped off the stage, I heard her tell Kai, "You're still the best," thinking of pretending my windpipe was injured to gain sympathy and fans. That way, my scandal of being a kept woman was completely swept under the rug. I'm even more famous than before, and I even got the young master of the Chu family as a boyfriend to shoulder the blame. That doctor's death was really convenient. Kai chuckled. "What else? A doctor's responsibility is to save lives. She took you from a third-rate star to a first-rate one. You could say she did a good deed, useful to society. She should die feeling satisfied." After saying this, they tore my blood-stained suicide note into pieces, and I, a wandering soul, could only watch helplessly as she continuously participated in variety shows, became a brand ambassador, and even got engaged and had children with Kevin Chu. But I never expected that heaven would give me another chance. In this life, I would never meddle in others' affairs or get involved with this poisonous snake disguised as a celebrity again. However, at this moment, Kevin Chu looked at me with a disappointed expression, scolding, "Jane Trin, you've disappointed me so much. You're not usually like this. A good doctor is like a compassionate mother. Isn't saving people what you should do?" I burst out laughing. "To save someone, they first have to be human. Mia Thien is a wide-eyed wolf who harms people. Why should I save her?" I glanced at Kevin Chu. "Oh, you're also a doctor. Why don't you go save her yourself?" Struck by my words, Kevin Chu immediately retorted, "You know perfectly well I'm still just an intern doctor and don't even have a license to practice. Then put away your false pity and shut your mouth." This remark immediately silenced Kevin Chu, but the announcement calling for a doctor continued to echo. Kevin Chu looked anxiously towards car number 1, gritting his teeth as if making a huge decision. Suddenly, he pointed at me and shouted, "Everyone, she's a surgeon, Jane Trin. She can save Mia Thien immediately." All eyes in the carriage turned towards me. Both the train staff and Mia Thien's manager, Kai, heard the shout and rushed over. The train attendant asked me, "Ma'am, are you really a doctor? The patient in car 1 needs urgent help." Kevin Chu quickly picked up the book I was reading and continued, "Yes, she's a surgeon. Look, she's reading a medical book." Kai, next to him, heard that and immediately knelt before me, begging, "Doctor, please save our Mia Thien. Please, I beg you. If you save her, we'll pay you enough money to last a lifetime, and we can even get you into movies and TV shows." His words made me feel nothing but nausea. In my previous life, he and Mia Thien had torn my suicide note to shreds, saying my death was convenient. Why didn't he kneel and beg then like he is now? I scoffed, pushing Kai's hand away. "I'm not going." Everyone was stunned, even Kevin Chu was dumbfounded. Jane Trin, do you know what you're saying? Saving lives is a doctor's responsibility. How can you be so cold-hearted? Other passengers also spoke up. That's right. Seeing someone die and not saving them, are you fit to be a doctor? Or are you jealous of Mia Thien's beauty, so you're deliberately not saving her? I knew this was exactly the effect Kevin Chu wanted. He publicly exposed me as a doctor so that when I refused because I didn't have a license or wasn't allowed to practice here, they would force me to save Mia Thien. And then I would fall into the same trap as my previous life. It was a cunningly forced situation, but unfortunately, this time I wouldn't let him have his way. I looked directly at all the eyes staring at me and said loudly, "Yes, I am a doctor. And precisely because I am a doctor, my medical skills can elevate China to a global standard. Listen to my command. Scalpel, slash open the pants of Jillo. Syringe, shoot out an aircraft carrier. This pill can kill 800 pigs in one explosion." As soon as I finished, everyone was bewildered. They didn't understand what I was saying. Actually, I didn't know what I was saying either, but I knew they wouldn't know what I was saying because I was just talking nonsense. That's right, I'm a doctor. But would you dare let an abnormal doctor like me treat you? My speech sped up. The eyes of the train attendant and Kai widened further. In the end, I even knelt down, grabbed Kai, who had just been kneeling, and bumped my forehead against his, shouting, "Bang, bang, bang away the wrinkles." The carriage fell into suffocating silence. Even Kevin Chu didn't say another word. I knew my goal had been achieved. I shook my head, brushed off some dust from my clothes, stood up as if awakened, and exclaimed to everyone, "Oh, I'm sorry, he was just talking nonsense. Now it's my turn. Come on, didn't you say you wanted to save someone?" I looked at Kai. He was still clutching his head where I had bumped it earlier, retreating in fear. I pretended not to understand anything. Even the train staff looked at me with terror. Only Kevin Chu refused to believe what he had just witnessed, loudly rebuking, "Jane Trin, what are you pretending? Are you faking madness just because you don't want to save Mia Thien?" I looked at him with an innocent expression. "I'm not pretending. I really want to save Mia Thien." "Everyone, please lead the way." Kai immediately interjected. "No, absolutely not. We can't let this crazy woman save Mia Thien. She's a star. If anything happens, 10 crazy women like her couldn't compensate." I shrugged and spread my hands. "Then find Kevin Chu. He's also an excellent student from the medical university." Kai's eyes immediately caught sight of Kevin Chu's graduate student ID card on the small table. He shouted, "Medical genius, hurry and save her." Kevin Chu quickly protested, "No, I haven't finished my internship yet." Kai cut him off. "A human life is more important. Just go and give first aid, at least perform CPR." He dragged Kevin Chu towards car 1, and the other passengers also joined in, urging, "Go, go, this is the first lesson for a future doctor." This moral coercion ultimately backfired, aimed squarely at Kevin Chu. He couldn't resist and was pushed by everyone towards Mia Thien's carriage. I watched his retreating figure and couldn't help but chuckle. "Kevin Chu, I really look forward to seeing your face when you help the pure goddess in your heart vomit a pile of birth control pills. What will you think then?" I stood at the back of the crowded onlookers, moving with them towards car 1. Although there were security guards on the train, they couldn't stop the curiosity of the eager crowd wanting to witness a celebrity's drama. I even saw a few people around me start live streams. "Hello everyone, today we have some hot news. The celebrity Mia Thien just collapsed on our high-speed train." Mia Thien's popularity immediately pushed the incident onto the hot search, attracting a large number of viewers. The camera turned to not far where Mia Thien was leaning against a seat, her small face pale, even slightly purplish. She was so weak she could only pound her own chest. Live stream comments exploded. "Her company must be exploiting her too much, making her overwork, that's why she collapsed. So pitiful. She's clearly exhausted. Why does it look more like she's choking on food?" As a medical graduate student, even without much experience, Kevin Chu still had basic knowledge. He quickly assessed Mia Thien's condition, lifted her, and performed the Heimlich maneuver. Under his pressure, Mia Thien suddenly vomited violently, expelling about 7 or 8 pale yellow pills. She collapsed onto the floor, panting. Kevin Chu wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, "It's okay now. She probably swallowed the pills too quickly and choked." Comments on the live stream erupted again. "Oh my God, what kind of illness does she have that she has to take so many pills? What kind of pills are those? Does anyone know? Poor girl." Seeing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What kind of pills? Of course, they're birth control pills that her sugar daddy made her take. But unfortunately, Kevin Chu didn't recognize the type of pills. He had just breathed a sigh of relief, but when he turned back, Mia Thien's face was still pale. Why hasn't she woken up yet? Didn't you say she'd be fine after vomiting? Kai hugged Mia Thien tightly, shouting in panic. Kevin Chu also looked visibly flustered. His clinical experience was insufficient, and coupled with the pressure from the watching crowd, he couldn't make an accurate diagnosis. He could only stammer, It might be a side effect of the medication. Yes, it must be caused by the pills. He urgently looked at Kai. What kind of pills did she take? Tell me now. But as soon as the question left his lips, Kai's expression changed. In my previous life, I arrived very early. At that time, no one knew the person who collapsed was Mia Thien. In fact, no one paid attention at first. In my previous life, when I pressed him, Kai quickly whispered that they were birth control pills. But this life was different. This time, Kai himself publicly announced Mia Thien's collapse, and Kevin Chu's self-important fuss attracted widespread attention. Many people gathered to watch, and some even started live streams. In this situation, how could Kai dare to say what kind of pills Mia Thien took? He stammered, speechless. In the live stream, the audience was almost frantic. What kind of pills are they, for goodness sake? Tell us quickly. If there's a problem, we can all help find a solution. Oh my God, what kind of manager is this? Completely useless. It's still 20 minutes to the next station. Can our Mia Thien last? Someone commented. I'm a medical student. I can confirm that Mia Thien isn't simply choking. Her symptoms clearly indicate a drug-related issue, either a side effect or an allergy. Kevin Chu also realized this. He quickly urged Kai, what pills did she take? Tell me quickly. Otherwise, how can we save her? But Kai gritted his teeth, still refusing to speak. Just then, a voice rang out, Is it this? I found it under the seat. The person tremblingly held out a pink paper box with the large words, Lenovo Gel Tablets, clearly printed on it. In that moment, the entire carriage fell silent until someone weakly spoke up. Isn't this birth control pills? The audience in the live stream immediately exploded. What? Why birth control pills? Why is she taking these? What's going on? Oh my God, is this an insult? Many people take these to regulate their menstrual cycles. But who regulates it by taking a whole bunch at once? HMPH, the purest nightingale in the entertainment industry, huh? More like a gold digger. The live stream descended into chaos. Kai's and Kevin Chu's expressions changed continuously. Finally, Kevin Chu was the first to speak. He tried to remain calm. I think I understand now. This isn't a side effect. It's probably an allergy leading to respiratory obstruction. Right now, the only way to save her is through a tracheotomy. Seeing Kai's horrified expression, he quickly added, Don't worry, a cricothyrotomy is a simple procedure that can be performed in a non-sterile environment. But I've never done one before. I'm a bit nervous. At this, he paused, his eyes beginning to search through the crowd. I immediately felt a chill down my spine. This wasn't good. This jerk was definitely trying to drag me into performing the surgery again. Earlier, I faked madness to escape, but now with the live stream, if I continued to act, and the hospital executives saw it, I would definitely be punished. I glanced at the sturdy wall of the high-speed train, quietly retreated, and took a step just as Kevin Chu's gaze landed on me. I shouted, People behind me, stop pushing, I'm being squeezed to death. With that, I lunged forcefully at the wall, my head hitting it with a loud thud, and I fell to the ground, feigning unconsciousness. When I was taken back to my carriage, I could still hear Kevin Chu's shouts. Don't take her away, she can do the surgery. But who cared? I was already unconscious. Back in my seat, I slowly woke up, weakly wiping sweat from my forehead, and looked at the train attendant, saying, Go quickly to Mia Thien's side, help her first. I'm fine. That side is more urgent. The train attendant even praised me for being considerate and thoughtful. Once they left, I immediately took out my phone and continued watching the live stream. In the live stream, Mia Thien's face grew paler and paler. Finally, Kevin Chu dared not delay any longer. He took the knife and alcohol that Kai had brought and began the surgery. Seeing his clumsy execution, I knew something was wrong. Even in the live stream, some medical students noticed. Isn't he cutting that part a bit too wide? What if it affects Mia Thien's singing voice? His sterilization method is problematic. It's very easy to get infected doing this. Oh my God, the stitches are crooked too. It's ruined. What if it leaves a scar? Shut up, it's good enough if he saves her. Stop being so picky. If you're so good, do it yourself. Although the live stream was filled with arguments, the scene itself was incredibly quiet until Kevin Chu, dripping with cold sweat, finally completed the surgery. At this moment, Kai shouted, Mia Thien isn't blue anymore, she's breathing steadily. Kevin Chu wiped the sweat from his forehead, listened to her heartbeat again, and finally breathed a sigh of relief. The scene erupted in applause. At the same time, the high-speed train arrived at the station. The professional medical team, contacted in advance, immediately boarded the train and quickly took Mia Thien away. I saw Kevin Chu adjusting his clothes, preparing to leave, but at this moment, Kai blocked him. This scene made my heart skip a beat. I heard Kai say the exact same words he had said to me in my previous life. "Miracle doctor, thank you for saving our Mia Thien. Please leave your personal information. We will definitely send you a thank you banner later." Kevin Chu hesitated for a moment, then finally bowed his head and left his name, school, and workplace. In that moment, an indescribable joy surged within me, because I knew Kevin Chu was about to be ruined. He hadn't gotten his internship license yet, nor his professional certificate. If anything happened to Mia Thien later, all she had to do was sue him once, and she would surely win. The curses and humiliations I had endured in my previous life were now about to be his turn to taste. I couldn't wait. I saw Kevin Chu walking towards my carriage on the live stream. Quickly, I pretended to close my eyes. The next second, his cold voice rang in my ear. "Stop pretending. We're at the station." "Get off the train." I slowly opened my eyes, deliberately asking, "What did you say? I don't understand." He looked at me with a sarcastic expression. "Jane Trin, I never imagined you'd be like this. Not only did you see death and not save, you even faked madness and unconsciousness to escape. I truly don't understand why I was with someone of such low character as you 2 years ago." I immediately interrupted him, "Then don't be together anymore." He froze as if he hadn't reacted in time. "What did you say?" I said, "Let's break up." As I left, he still stood there, dumbfounded. Perhaps he never expected that I, who always indulged him, would one day be the one to initiate a breakup. Kevin Chu and I met when he came to my hospital for an internship. At that time, he was often bullied by seniors. I couldn't stand it and helped him a few times. From then on, he started clinging to me, calling me sister, and pursuing me very enthusiastically. Never having been in love before, I quickly fell for a man with a good background and excellent looks like him. I was 5 years older than him. After we started dating, I always took care of him out of habit. When he was stressed about graduation and suffered from insomnia, I flipped through medical books and secretly mixed medicine into his tea. When he argued with his father and had his card cut off, I helped him pay part of his living expenses. Even when he was criticized by his superiors, I took the blame for him, then patiently taught him medical knowledge and principles. But it was this very care that made me fail to notice that his eyes and tone were becoming increasingly impatient. Even the way he addressed me, from sister, had coldly changed to Jane Trin. I took a deep breath, walked faster, ignoring my stinging eyes. Getting rid of a bad guy was a good thing. No matter what in this life, I would not repeat my mistakes. That night, as soon as I got home, I immediately took out my phone to check the developments. As expected, the hot topics on Weibo were almost entirely dominated by Mia Thien. Mia Thien collapsed. Mia Thien took birth control pills. Mia Thien's pure image shattered. Although fans constantly tried to comment and defend her, they couldn't salvage her rapidly declining image. It wasn't until midnight that her management company released an urgent statement. The statement basically said that Mia Thien's collapse was due to overworking and exhaustion during filming. She took birth control pills only to regulate her menstrual cycle, and taking many pills at once was because she had never used this type of medication before and didn't know how to control the dosage. Finally, the statement ended with the usual warning of international legal letters. By midnight, keywords related to Mia Thien on the hot search charts gradually dropped. I knew very well this was always the familiar crisis management tactic of A-list star management companies. But it didn't matter. At least in this life, I successfully escaped the high-speed train trip that nearly ruined my entire life. I wouldn't let Mia Thien use me again. The next day, I went to work at the hospital as usual. The many shocking incidents related to Mia Thien completely overshadowed the story of me going crazy on the high-speed train. No one paid attention to it anymore. When I arrived at the hospital, I bumped into Kevin Chu talking on the phone. Initially, I intended to walk around him to avoid him, but he deliberately spoke loudly right in front of me. "Oh, Kai, you're coming to our hospital today? No need to bring a thank you banner, just Mia Thien's speedy recovery is enough." I looked at his ridiculous showboating, just glanced and then turned to leave. A thank you banner? He probably didn't know what was actually coming was a lawyer's letter. In the afternoon, Kai and his group indeed came to the hospital, but to my surprise, what they brought was actually a thank you banner, not a lawyer's letter as I had thought. Kai even praised Kevin Chu profusely in front of the hospital executives, saying he was kind-hearted and exceptionally skilled. Kevin Chu was immediately hailed and became the center of attention. These scenes made me frozen in thought. No way! Kevin Chu's surgery was full of flaws. It would definitely affect her windpipe's recovery, perhaps even 100% impacting her singing voice. With Mia Thien and Kai's personalities, they wouldn't miss this opportunity to use it as a selling point and regain their reputation. Something wasn't right, but I still couldn't find a clue. Half a month later, a paparazzi photographer captured Mia Thien emerging from an apartment near Kevin Chu's school. The two were clinging to each other, very intimate. Rumors of a romance between Mia Thien and Kevin Chu immediately topped the hot search. The comments section went wild. "Oh my God, talented medical student and popular singer, what a perfect fairy tale couple. Their meeting story is like a perfect love movie. Get married tomorrow." But looking at this article, I only felt extremely strange. Mia Thien, why was she so quick to get together with Kevin Chu? In my previous life, Kevin Chu had to spend a lot of time pursuing her. The whole situation was very suspicious. There must be something I'd overlooked. Mia Thien was definitely planning something with Kevin Chu. But what was it? My eyes scanned the article, stopping at the keyword, apartment. I used to live in that small apartment of Kevin Chu's. At that time, fearing it wasn't safe to walk around at night, I had installed a surveillance camera at the main door. Even though we had broken up, that camera hadn't been removed, and it was still connected to my phone. I quickly turned on remote viewing, monitoring it whenever I had free time, worried I might miss something important. Finally, one evening I caught Mia Thien appearing. She was on the phone while typing the password to unlock the door, saying, "Kai, you're still the best at handling everything." At first, I was going to send a lawyer's letter to Kevin Chu. "Good thing you found out in time. He likes me so much. Not only does he provide my child with a nominal father, but I can also use our relationship to create buzz and attract more fans." Hearing this, I was completely stunned. Oh my God, so Mia Thien was pregnant. No wonder she rushed to be with Kevin Chu like that. So she wanted him to be the scapegoat. I was too shocked to speak. What about my previous life? After Kevin Chu got engaged to her, did he know about this? For the first time, I regretted dying too soon in my previous life. I couldn't witness the rest of the drama, Kevin Chu happily being a fake father. But I clearly heard Mia Thien's words. "No matter how much you advise me, I won't have an abortion." I'm still hoping that this child will help me marry into the families of CEO Chen, or CEO Li, or CEO Liu. Wait a minute, hearing her tone, it seemed she didn't even know who the father of the child in her womb was. Actually, it's not unfair to him. Last time, if it weren't for his surgery on the high-speed train, how could I have vomited all the birth control pills I took, leading to untimely contraception? Even if he's not the biological father, he should still take responsibility, truly. In that moment, I was completely astonished by Mia Thien's logic. Knowing the whole truth, I even felt a bit of pity for Kevin Chu. Wearing a huge green hat, raising someone else's child, that might be worse than being sued for illegal medical practice. Afterward, it seemed Kevin Chu had completely fallen in love with Mia Thien. He applied to end his internship at our hospital early. On the day he came to pack his belongings, he even made a special effort to see me one last time. He was still wearing a white shirt and black trousers, tall and slender. There was no denying his appearance was still excellent. He looked at me with a triumphant air and casually said, "Jane Trin, let me tell you some good news that might break your heart." I folded my arms across my chest. "Go on. I'm going to be a father, and of twins." After saying this, he looked at me smugly, as if waiting to see me grieve, regret, or feel miserable. But I couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Congratulations, you're going to be a father, haha." My reaction was completely unexpected to him. He was stunned, finally just saying, "You crazy Jane Trin, I think you've gotten addicted to faking madness." "That's right, I'm faking madness, but your green hat is real, hee." Not long after, Mia Thien and Kevin Chu indeed got married. The pregnancy was also made public, and the couple quickly became the center of attention. They even signed contracts to appear on many reality TV shows to flaunt their affection. However, at that time, perhaps it was Mia Thien's rivals, but rumors that she had once been supported by wealthy businessmen were dug up again. Although there were no specific images or evidence, the rumors were very convincing. It was said that many advertising contracts she had signed previously were also canceled. I was feeling quite pleased, but to my surprise, Mia Thien and Kai once again used their old trick from my previous life to play the victim and clear her name. That night, a video of me faking madness on the high-speed train was widely circulated by media accounts. Mia Thien even shed tears, lamenting, "Only now do I know that woman was truly a surgeon from the city hospital. But why did she act like a lunatic that day? If that's true, can someone with signs of mental instability legally work in such an important medical position? If it's false, then didn't she deliberately refuse to perform surgery on me?" Anyway, I'm still very lucky, because thanks to that incident, I met my current lover. But I always feel regret. If Dr. Jane Trin, who had experience, had performed the surgery on me that day, perhaps I wouldn't have these lingering effects on my windpipe, nor this difficulty in pronunciation now. This lament immediately helped her attract a large number of fans. Countless netizens cried for her and rushed to fight for her. Our hospital's complaint department was filled with furious curses directed at me. Seeing these familiar tricks, I couldn't help but laugh. "Excuse me, Mia Thien, your tricks are still the same, but I'm no longer the fool from my previous life, easily manipulated and slandered by you. Do you think only you have cameras?" I had taken the surveillance video recording Mia Thien's words that day and anonymously sent it to her rivals that very night. This classic recording caused a storm on Weibo. "Kai, you're still so good, I won't have an abortion. I want to keep this baby. Who knows, maybe I can use it to marry into the family of CEO Chen, CEO Li, or CEO Liu. Even if he's not the biological father, he still has to take responsibility for me." Not only me, but the entire country was astonished by Mia Thien's logic. Everyone knew that Kevin Chu was wearing a green hat with clear, undeniable evidence. Compared to her past of being a kept woman, unexpected pregnancy, and Kevin Chu wearing a green hat, my faking madness on the high-speed train was nothing. I even hired a media account to explain gently, "Actually, my health is completely normal. That day, I really wanted to help Ms. Mia, but unfortunately, I had eaten poisonous mushrooms in Yunnan. Everyone knows how terrifying Yunnan mushroom poisoning is. I'm truly sorry." Everyone who read my explanation expressed sympathy, because everyone knew Yunnan mushrooms were famously toxic. Very quickly, this explanation only stayed on the hot search for about 10 minutes before being pushed down by other topics about Mia Thien. After the recording was released, her rivals continued to expose more scandals, such as bullying rookies, extravagant spending, and tax evasion. In just one night, all the shows Mia Thien participated in were cancelled, and advertising contracts were also replaced. She even faced colossal compensation fees. That night, I received a message from Kevin Chu. "That video, you released it, didn't you? No wonder you were laughing like that day. You knew all along, didn't you?" I couldn't be bothered to reply, because by then, I was already on a plane going abroad. In fact, right after my rebirth, I had started preparing my application for a postdoctoral research program abroad. I was determined that no matter what happened later, the only safe choice was to leave the country and stay far away from crazy people like Mia Thien and Kai. A few days earlier, my resignation procedures and visa had been completed. Without further delay, I immediately left. After Mia Thien was completely blacklisted, my life abroad was very stable. It's just that occasionally I would receive emails from Kevin Chu. "Sister, I miss you so much. I understand now. You're the only one who loves me most in this world. Can you come back? Sister, I really miss you. Only now do I realize how much you sacrificed for me. You cured my insomnia, helped me with my notes, protected me from bullies, and even gave me your salary to spend. Can you give me another chance?" I replied with a short sentence, "Sure, if you die, I'll forgive you." After sending it, I didn't contact him again. But to my surprise, half a year later, Kevin Chu actually died. Before giving birth, Mia Thien once again appeared in public, crying and explaining that the surveillance videos circulated online were all edited fakes. "I didn't cheat, nor was I a kept woman. The babies in my womb are Kevin Chu's children." But when the two children were born, one had dark skin and the other had light skin. This phenomenon is not unheard of in biology. If the maternal grandfather or paternal grandfather is dark-skinned and the maternal grandmother or paternal grandmother is light-skinned, it's possible to have twins with one dark-skinned and one light-skinned baby. But no matter how they were mixed, neither of those children had any Asian features. Clearly, neither of them was Kevin Chu's child. In a fit of rage, Kevin Chu set fire to kill Mia Thien and Kai, who was visiting her. Before he died, he sent me one last email. "Sister, by the time you read this letter, I may already be dead. Consider me gone ahead to prepare our home in the next life. Can you forgive me? Seeing the words, our home in the next life, I only felt nauseous. Even when he was dead, I still seriously typed 3 words on the keyboard and sent my reply, never.